Hi, and welcome to my mental monologue once again. I am your host, Shelby Lee Giles. With me always is.
Hey, Heidely Ho, Chris Candlin here.
Today we're going to be talking about the war on the nation's capital, or riot, or just straight up chaos that just happened.
Possibly even protest.
Well, craziness that just happened. Okay, so my thing is this: it's fucked up. Whatever happened down there was wrong. It should have never happened. And all the people that came together there, whether they're, doing it just to be foolish or, follow their friends, and just the ones all together that believe for, to be about Trump, it's just stupid. If you're going to attack the nation, it should have been something where people had a fucking, first off, had a purpose, a real good purpose for doing it, to try to change the nations, like in 1776 with, the Boston Tea Party. And, you know, they keep saying that 1814 is when the last time that the Capitol was attacked. So what was that?
1814, that was the War of 1812, probably.
That's what I was saying, right? That's what I'm thinking. So why the fuck are they saying 1814?
Well, because the War of 1812 went, it wasn't just in 1812. I think personally that war is very badly named because it's very misleading. The war went from, I believe, 1811 to 1815.
And that's the War 1812.
For whatever reason.
But see, the president they name is different too. It's not because Madison was the War 1812. What's that? Maybe it was.
Well, no, because Madison was president, but then he was succeeded relatively shortly by Jackson, I think. Because I know Jackson was president for a decent, I believe.
Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, it's a crazy one.
Well, they made of Wounded Knee stuff, right?
Yeah, just generally pretty crazy guy. Lots of recorded cases of him beating people just because he had a cane that he would walk around with and beat people with. But that's pretty. This is all getting relatively off topic. But.
Well, no, not really, because that's the problem right now. Is everyone's tripping on the president. You know what I'm saying? What the president did, how he acts, how he talks, what did he do, why he looked like that. Okay. People always trip on the president, and then the president's reaction in any time period is what I'll say, I might say terrifying to some people. You know what I mean? Because I mean, look, people were scared when they lost fucking, the other country. You know what I'm saying? When they lost, King, what was it, King Richard? I want to say King Richard. I watched Robin Hood.
I mean, who was king during our Revolutionary War?
Yes.
I believe King James III.
Yes, I knew it wasn't King Richard. Too much Robin Hood. But the thing is this, okay? So when they divided, there were people that were afraid to have, not to be under England's rule.
There were a lot of pro-British, technically there were a lot of pro-British colonists. That's the proper word to use for them at the inner time period between British rule and American rule. So there were a decent amount of, and there were a lot of colonists that joined into the British Army to fight against the revolutionaries.
I think the whole thing, though, with what happened just recently was not. They want to say on the news that it's a racial issue, that the Black Lives Matter people would have got treated different. They say that Trump started all this. We got to impeach Trump. Well, they've been saying all this negative stuff about Trump for a long time, and they haven't impeached him yet. And now it comes to the end of his presidency before you try to impeach him again. It's kind of stupid. You know what I mean?
It's really stupid. And I mean, there has not been a single ounce of legitimate evidence raised against him doing something illegal, or else he would have actually been charged.
But the thing I'm trying to say is this, okay? So these people attacked the Capitol. And yes, they might have been treated different if it was another race doing the same thing. But here's what I'm saying, okay? Plain and simple, okay? These people was going to do this shit regardless because it's been going on all year inside cities like New York, Seattle, Portland.
But the difference is it's not Black Lives Matter doing it.
No, but it doesn't matter because you already got people outraged, causing chaos. And then you got these other people who did, to believe they got a strong
But
cause.
it does. The thing is, it does really matter because when you have the massive media corporations that are the eyes and ears of this country who feed the vast majority of people their information, when they are talking about how all of these crazy people doing shit for this entire year for Black Lives Matter or Antifa, they are brainwashed into thinking that they didn't do anything wrong, that that's all the media lying to them, and then as soon as somebody does something similar who happens to be on the other side of the political spectrum, they are immediately labeled as terrorists and as that these people are trying to take a coup. I mean, people easily forget that not that long ago, Black Lives Matter and Antifa in DC almost took the Capitol building as well. This is the same experience. It's simply somebody wearing the different color of hat. It is the other side of the coin doing the same thing. So all of the people calling this out as terroristic acts as a coup are simply hypocrites who aren't willing to open their eyes enough and see that this is happening on both sides of the political spectrum.
Well, here's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, get where I'm coming from. The chaos brings chaos. It's like violence makes more violence. It's like an eye for an eye, or somebody's going to end up blind. Okay, so if the Black Lives Matter people are rioting and doing chaos all year long, then of course, the crazy white supremacists or whatever the fuck are going to do the same damn thing, and it's going to keep escalating. And this year's not going to be no difference. Everybody act like it's Christmas when it goes. It's a new year. It's the same. Going to be the same fucking shit. There's still COVID going on. There's still people who's feeling unjust by the government. There's still people who's running around getting evicted, losing their homes, all kinds of stuff. The American people are fed up with the bullshit.
But that's the main difference we're seeing between these two events is people are actually being held accountable this time. How many of the Antifa people who protested were kept from returning home? How many of them were barred from returning back to their home state?
I just want
None of them. That's
But I
how
want
many.
these groups, okay, to have one leader. That's what's missing, okay. If you see these, you got all these groups from all these different places, and they're always fighting. Each one of them is different. You got Black Lives Matter Portland, Black Lives Matter New York, Black Lives Matter blah 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 blah. Right? When Martin Luther King was around, okay, when Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, when them type of people was around, okay, people came together. If they said we got a black group in Nashville and you got a black group in Texas, well, Nashville and Texas coming together because one black group is in a force of a bunch of people was more intimidating than being divided.
They need more organization and a figurehead.
Yes, they need people to make a point. When they had a meeting here in Portland, okay, for the Black Lives Matter thing. Now I videotaped two of them protests, and I'm gonna make a show about it. So look forward to seeing that audience. But the whole thing I'm trying to say is when they had a big meeting with the mayor, nobody had rules, guidelines, and plans to what they was trying to do for the black people here in Portland. And seeing how the large majority was white people doing the protest because there weren't no real black people trying to step up because they know the history of Portland. Either way, they're gonna be blamed for what happens. you know, so my point is if they had somebody that made a leader, then it would make more sense to why they're destroying the city and causing chaos, but they don't. And the same thing with the feminists, same thing with the damn rioters, the white people that took the Capitol, all of it. Okay, there's no real person speaking up for them. We had one guy speaking up for them before they all went and did that chaos. Then there would have been more. You guys have a figurehead that's representing them instead of them just going buck wild in some place that represents all of us. That's supposed to be protecting all of us. But if things keep going the way it's going this year, where the government keeps trying to betray us and doesn't help us with our basic human needs, then we're all doomed to that fate of trying to attack the government or having the government attack us. And that civil war you talked about a while ago is not too far off, you know.
People called me crazy.
But I didn't call you crazy.
No, I wasn't saying you did. A lot of people said, no, that's never going to happen.
But my thing is this, so I'm saying people do need to stand up and they gotta come together. But I just hope everybody can try to find one person to speak for their groups. So my point is this: we need one leader for all these people. Every group. Okay, black people aren't a group because they like to be independent. Some people don't want to listen to other folks. I mean, it's hard to get along, hard to come together. Even though they had the Million Man March a while back, you know what I'm saying? They never came together like Martin Luther King did. And that will never happen again until the mindset of black people start to change and become more humble and closer to each other. Stop abandoning each other for outside thoughts, like the natives. They don't want to know outside influences from whatever, or they got cultures like that, and they stay close and bonded with their people. But we don't have that. They call themselves African American when none of us know what the hell Africa looked like. We're Americans. Black people are Americans because we are a people without a nation. Okay, we can say we're black when we come from Africa, but do you got an African ancestry? I mean, there's not that many black people that do, unless they have roots, strong roots from Africa. You know, and so the Black Lives Matter group. That's why here in Portland, so many white people were protesting in the Black Lives Matter group because the black people here in Portland been stripped of their identity even now. Okay, there's people around here walk with their heads down, all kinds of stuff. They're not black empowered. They're black intimidated by their own
Well,
skin.
and I feel I have something important to add on that note because it has black people aren't a group. They also are expected to be one because in my experiences, the people I've met who are black and consider themselves part of like the conservative Republican Party, they other black people look at them like they're mentally ill.
But they do that to you even if you ain't part of the Republican Party and mentally ill. They gonna say, "Who the fuck is this motherfucker? Who the fuck are you, man?" You know what I'm saying? So straight up, man. All I'm saying is this: is first to have a true group for black people, all black people, American black people born here. You don't know where the hell you come from. They never gave you no damn 40 acres of a mule. And your cousin's some gangbanger and there's a drug dealer in your family, all that shit, whatever. Or just straight up, you've been through hell because of whatever going on in your, close, intimate family. What do you mean they here? Who?
My bros, they're sick.
Oh, shit. Anyway, so my point is this, okay? The protest that happened, the riot, okay, it should have had a leader, it should have had a purpose, and it should have been focused on something that meant something, not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is irrelevant. And he's irrelevant because he's already been voted out. Who gives a damn if, it's wrong or right, if it's illegal or not, even if they ain't, if that's what they want to do, they're gonna do what they want. They are the powers that be. Because if they did what we need, none of us would be suffering the stuff we're suffering right now because of this COVID shit and everything else that happened this past year. It would have came to full circle, and we all would have been get residuals or whatever from the government. But the government people is not for us, and we need to come and start a new nation if we have to. But I believe a new party was the first way to do it. You know what I'm saying? And I believe this thing won't end until both sides come together. Rich need to slide down and try to make us all even financially, so we can take care of our families. But what I see happening, and this is a prediction, you can quote me as a prophet if you want. When it comes to Seattle, Los Angeles, here in Portland, with the homeless people running around, and then drugs. Don't No one goes to drugs for jail for drugs anymore. Violence happens. People don't go to jail. All these people doing all these things, and I'm saying, I believe what's going to happen is they're trying to let the regular people die off, so the rich people can inherit these places. And so that's the flaw I see in the future prediction I give to America because it's unsafe in the cities now and on the West Coast. So I don't know about the rest of the country, but I'm telling you, what the end game is going to be, the government is going to revolt against us, and it's already put there in the Second Amendment. And here it is: you guys voted against gun laws. And so and the government was the whole thing. The Second Amendment was put there to stop the government from revolting against us, and that's what's going to happen. And now we don't got the gun laws to back up that cause that we supposedly have in the Constitution.
We may not even have the gun laws for that long. Right now, DC is trying to ban body armor.
See, that's my point. You see, everything is to take away our safety. The census test is to try to see who's in your house so they can come in and stomp it through there and take out anybody on Thanksgiving. Anybody that's in your house, you know what I'm saying? They know because you did a census test. You know, you put your faith in too much blindness without realizing that the whole time the devil's behind the scenes.
We need to never trust the government. We need to constantly think that they are trying to cheat us, get something over on us, because they constantly are.
We need to think about getting our faith back in any kind of belief system. Whenever you try to find yourself, find the spirit world, and it will guide you to the right path of righteousness. Righteousness isn't in the American people or the government, because the government makes mistakes because you know what? They're men. They're not perfect. Neither are you. So we got to try to live great and try to look for helping other people and helping ourselves to meet that perfection.
Men in the royal sense of man is humanity.
Right. But people need to learn their basic humanity because they've forgotten it. You know what I'm saying? And to do that, you have to find a spiritual center. And you can't find it and sitting back because they locked you up in the house for 6 months or watching reality shows. You have to fucking step out and try to change the world. These people are trying to do it, but they're doing it all the wrong way and at the cost of all our safety. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just gonna end it. You know, stuff bothers me, but I want you all to think about what the future brings if we sit there and continue to stay silent when we have the freedom of speech and the real meaning of freedom of speech to speak against the United States government itself. So I want you to think about, does your life matter? Does your children's life matters? And does the future of America matters? And if you believe so, we need time to come together and try to make a change for the greater good of all mankind and the benefit of the future for all children to come. This is Shelby and Chris Kendallin.
That's right.
This is my mental monologue.
Thank you for listening.
Like, subscribe,
hit that bell,
and notifications constantly. Peace be with you all, and blessings upon you.